Sometimes, in our heart of hearts, we all just want to weigh ourselves down in the heaviest armor we can find, slap it on a horse as well, grab a tower shield and a huge intimidating axe, and then just go to town. That's what the Great Knight class in Fire Emblem Warriors 3 Hopes does. Wielding the best defense bonuses in the game without sacrificing mobility, the class line of the Armor Knight ends with this mounted axe user, and there is quite a lot to get into when understanding how to use it. Let's jump on in and find out everything it can do. The Great Knight's mounted regular attack string consists of 7 attacks. You will sweep left, swing down, spin and attack right, smash enemies with your shield, jump and slash down again, double slash forward, and then finish with a running double cut to your right. Your dismounted regular attack string has you chop left, right, down to the left, shield bash, thrust forward, make a big chop downwards, and finish with a shield rush forward and a final hit. Compared to other mounted classes, you probably will want to get off your horse from time to time, as there is a very helpful ability that only the unmounted version has. Let's jump over to what that is with the strong attacks. In this section, I'm going to start out with the mounted strong attacks and then get to the unmounted ones later on. When you are mounted, hitting the strong attack button will cause you to charge up your attack. When released, you will immediately go rushing forward, and charging longer increases the damage dealt to enemies, as well as breaking or nullifying guarding enemies. When used on its own, this takes quite a long time to charge up, but as you might expect, if you string this onto the end of any of your other strong attacks, it charges up much faster. For your second mounted strong attack, you will do a big swing upwards, setting up any caught enemies for juggling. Your third strong attack is a very fast shield bash. Nice and simple. Fourth up, you will do 2 large sweeps upward, rending the air itself with each slash, which sends your enemies flying. Next, your fifth strong attack has you gallop around in a circle before bashing up enemies into the air with your shield. For your sixth strong attack, you will do a big stomp that creates debris, and then slice into it with your axe. And for your seventh and final mounted strong attack, you will go on a series of horse stomps, hitting in a circle around you before going for one final cut. Now let's jump over to your unmounted strong attacks. When you are unmounted, you will regain the class action of the Armor and Fortress Knights, and in my opinion, it's pretty much what this class is made to do. When you hit the button, you will slam your shield into the ground, creating a shockwave of damage, but also creating a circular zone that will reduce all physical damage that you and your allies take while they fight inside it. This spends all of the charge that you have in your action gauge, and that gauge fills up very slowly over time. There is, however, a way to instantly charge this from any amount to 100%, and that is by performing a perfect guard. This is similar to other games where you need to perfectly time out a guard to literally any attack coming your way, from a powerful enemy commander to literally any nameless fodder enemy. If you can time these out well enough, then you can pretty much always have this move in your back pocket. I really do enjoy how this effect lets you spread out the physical damage resistance to not only yourself, but also other units around you or that you may switch to controlling. It really gives the Great Knight a bit of synergy in situations where you want to keep an ally alive, or make it easier for flimsier characters such as Grimoires or Dark Bishops to fight in close quarters. There is no true way to fight from a distance at all times, and so it can be dangerous to try to take on more powerful enemies with classes that can lose their health incredibly quickly. If you're not too good at dodging, then you're probably going to get a lot of use out of this ability. The rest of the unmounted moveset is pretty straightforward, so let's run through them real quick. Second up, you will cut your enemies into the air for a juggle move. Third, it's a big shield bash stomp. Fourth up, it's a double sweep of attacks forward. Fifth, you bash enemies into the air for another juggle. Sixth, you'll do a spinning shield bash in front of you. And seventh, you will go on an elongated spinning attack and finish with a big final cut. And that's pretty much everything. Last up for this video, let's take a look at the Great Knight's class abilities and then put everything that they can do together for one final conclusion. First of all, for your class abilities, the Great Knight gains Impregnable, which prevents you from being knocked out of your strong attacks once you have started them up. This is to be expected, considering you are the slowest and most heavily armored class in the game, and this plays really well into characters that use charging strong attack mechanics, such as Geralt, Caspar, and Hilda. I don't know if I would say that this is technically their best class, but it's something to think about. Next up, you of course gain Lance Buster level 4, which increases your damage versus Lance wielders. When it came to gathering up my thoughts for this class, I have found myself coming to a bit of a strange realization. Normally, when examining the attacks available for these mounted master classes versus their unmounted versions, it's pretty simple to recommend staying mounted for by far the majority of the time and in the majority of different situations. However, I'm not really sure that this applies to the Great Knight. I feel like the defensive area class ability of the unmounted Great Knight is sort of why this class exists at all, and the horse is a bit of a means to an end so that you can get to where you want to go quicker. In a Warriors game, you literally can't body block, and there is no enemy phase for you to get all your damage in, as enemies pointlessly try to hit you. You need to be offensive in this game, and so, in both this and the original Fire Emblem Warriors, Great Knight classes like this really don't end up very optimized at all. Perhaps if the Great Knight's mounted version had the same class action, it would have a bit more play. I really do like how setting up a big defensive area can play into you switching into another character, and then fighting with less precaution as long as you stay in it. To be honest, any player that wants to have an axe user on their team is probably taking an opportunity cost when choosing the Great Knight. In this class, you are little more than a support piece, and considering how fast battles can go, you might as well just switch into an offensive role. In a guide video like this, I can tell you how to use this class, but I do struggle to tell you why you would want to use this class. It's probably gotta be something personal. Maybe you just want the class mastery abilities, or you just like looking really, really cool. I suppose I understand both of those. Big thank you to my top Patreon supporters, Henry Gutierrez and Shin Lu, as well as to everyone else who supports me over on Patreon. Without them, this video simply couldn't have gotten made. If you would like to support this channel doing what it does, be sure to check out the link in the description or find me on Patreon under Shanebrain. Thanks everyone.